Aigüestortes I Estany de Sant Maurici National Park is one of the 14 Spanish national parks, and the only one located in Catalonia, a wild mountain region in the Pyrenees, with peaks rising to 3,017 meters and with nearly 200 lakes, many of them of glacial origin. The park comprises a core area of 141 square kilometers and a buffer zone of 267 square kilometers surrounding the park. The park's name in Catalan is Aigüestortes I Estany de Sant Maurici, freely translated as the winding streams and St.Maurice Lake. The park has an elevation range of 1,600 to 3,000 meters and contains 4 major vegetation zones: lower montane, upper montane, subalpine and alpine. The fauna includes Pyrenean chamois, marmot, ermine, roe deer, among other mammals, and numerous birds. The park was created in 1955 after Ordesa y Monte Perdido National Park, first Spanish national park in the Pyrenees, in 1918. Its administrative seats are in Espot and Boy. The park is mainly located in the comarques of Palas Sobirà and Alta Ribagorça. Situation: the national park comprises 40,852 hectares, divided into 2 different levels of protection: the core area and a buffer zone surrounding the park. This buffer zone creates a gradation from the inner side, more strictly protected than the external parts of the park. The core area is located in the comarques of Palas Sobirà and Alta Ribagorça, and includes the main entrances of the park. On the west side, from the village of Boy, is the Aigüestortes plain. Aigüestortes means winding waters, and is largely flat, which allows the river to meander and flow slowly. This area indicates the existence of an old lake, today covered by sediment. To the east, near the village of Espot, is St.Maurice Lake, one of the most famous of the region, from where one can see the spectacular twin peaks of the Encantats. This picture is one of the symbols of the park and is the logo of the park. This area also includes part of the municipalities of Viella i Mijaran and Endauterin in the Val d'Aran, Villa and Val de Boy in the Alta Ribagorça, La Torre-de-Cabdella in the Palas Jussa and Espot, Altanu, Esteri de Nu, La Guingueta de Nu and Sort in the Palas Sobirà. The buffer zone also contains numerous areas of natural beauty and value, such as the forest of La Mata de Valencia, Gerba and Cabanes Valles, Columbus and Saboreda valleys, the Baciberi Valley, the lakes of Cabdella and Montado P. History: human settlement of the Pyrenees dates back at least to the period of glacial melting. Inside the borders of the national park, there is no record of stable human habitation during this time, but recent archaeological studies have found evidence of temporary settlements from 8,500 years ago in the Neolithic age. During the 19th century, the High Pyrenees became more populated, fueled by strong demand for natural resources with intense forestry, farming, and fishing. At the beginning of the 20th century, electrical power plants were built, resulting in a great transformation of the landscape. On the 21st of October 1955, the national park was created, becoming the 5th Spanish national park. On the 30th of March 1988, the Catalonian government took ownership of the park, together with an additional buffer zone, according to the Catalan laws. For that date, management of the wild protected areas has been managed by the autonomous government, which has introduced increases to the budget and staffing, along with stricter rules. Since then, forestry exploitation, fishing, camping and any exploitation of natural resources has been forbidden. However, an allowance is made for cattle breeding and the operative hydroelectric generation. Traditional uses of natural resources which are compatible with the protection of the wilderness are only allowed in the buffer zone. In 1996, the national park was enlarged to a total area of 14,119 hectares. In 1997, after litigation between Catalan and Spanish laws, it was agreed that autonomous regions can also take part in the management of the national parks. Biology. The park has an elevation range from 1,600 to 3,000 meters and different orientation of the valleys. The trees and very different ecosystems can be found inside the park. Vegetation. The park has a great variety of alpine vegetation owing to the large range of altitudes. In the lower parts of the valleys, around 1,500 meters high, typical European deciduous forests with pubescent oak Quercus humilis, European ash Fraxinus excelsior, beech Fagus sylvatica, a common hazel Corylus avellana can be found. However, a former meadow and pasture land which have been historically exploited by humans are now typically occupied with grasslands and shrubs, dominated by common box Buxus sempervirens or secondary forests with Scots pine Pinus sylvestris. From 1,500 meters to beyond 2,000 meters, the dominant vegetation is mountain pine Pinus uncinata forest. Growing at altitudes up to 2,400 meters, it is the tree best adapted to survive the long, hard winters of the high Pyrenees. At this altitude, alpenrose rhododendron ferruginum and blueberry vaccinium myrtillus, which prefers cooler locations, can be found. Heather Calluna vulgaris, or common juniper Juniperus communis, prefers more sunny and dry areas. In the north faces at less than 2,000 meters, there are important silver fir Abies alba forests. La Mata de Valencia is the largest Pyrenean fir tree forest. In the alpine meadows above 2,300 meters where trees cannot survive, it is possible to find various other alpine flora species, such as Gentiana alpina. Approximately 8% of the species of the park are endemic to the Pyrenees. Around 7% they are plants with boreal-alpine or arctico-alpine distribution, with most of them having arrived in the Pyrenees during the last ice age. The most important group of the national park flora belongs to the Euro-Siberian group, the typical species from Central Europe. Fauna is not easily spotted in the national park. However, there are about 200 species from the phylum Chordata present, of which 2/3 are birds. Some of the most important ones are capercaillie, rock ptarmigan, golden eagle, griffon vulture and bearded vulture. Also possible to see a black woodpecker, red-billed chough, wall creeper, white-throated dipper, sittle finch among others. Most representative mammal species are chamois, stoat, alpine marmot, fallow deer and roe deer, which were also introduced in the national park during the second half of the 20th century. Among the amphibians, the Pyrenean brook salamander is significant but not easy to spot. The common frog is more or less common. It's necessary to be aware of Vipera aspis, a viper with a poisonous bite, but it does not usually attack without provocation. In the lakes and rivers, brown trout, the local trout, shares the region with other introduced species. Geology and climate. Aigüestortes National Park is an important item in the Pyrenean geology. The predominant rocks are granite and slate, both very old Paleozoic rocks. These emerged from the sea in the Paleogene, during the Alpine orogeny, giving rise to the Pyrenees. Successive Quaternary glaciations covered these mountains with huge glaciers. The lakes, the waterfalls, the sharpened peaks, the vertiginous ridges and the U-shaped valleys are the footprints of the erosive action of those ancient glaciers. years. Today, they have virtually disappeared, except for small glaciers in the central Pyrenees. Today, lakes are the most important contribution of these glaciers, which are fed by rivers and waterfalls. The climate in the park is predominantly cold. The mean temperature is around 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. In the upper parts, temperatures hardly reach above 0 degrees Celsius during winter. Mean annual precipitation ranges from 900 to 1,300 millimeters, mostly as snow in the mountains. Management and information. 44% of the territory is government-owned. Only 6% of the land has private owners, with the village of Espot extending into the eastern part of the park. Even so, exploitation of natural resources is forbidden in the strictly national park. Public use is one of the most important objectives for national parks, and people have the right to visit and walk within it. Information centers. The park has information centers widely distributed in the area. Boy is one of the main centers of the park. It has also a public library and an exhibition about the settlement of the Pyrenees and the adaptations to live in the mountains. The Park Information Center at Espot also provides an exhibition about the three leading things of the park: rock, water and life. The Museum of the Shepherds is in Les Uys, where the exhibition shows the traditional life and work of the shepherds from this valley. Senet has an information center explaining the evolution of the park in the relation between humans and animals. A history about competition, exploitation and good fellowship. During summer months a little information center is open in Estany de Sant Maurici, and a cable railway runs in the higher valley of Torrecabdala. There are some explanations about the water and the national park. From all of these centers, it is possible to participate in different organized activities. Tourism. Tourist activities are regulated. Walking access is free, but it is forbidden to collect any rocks, plants, flowers or mushrooms, and hunting and fishing is prohibited. Camping is officially prohibited, although it can be possible to wild camp discreetly away from sight of the paths at one's own risk. It is not possible to enter the park by private car. In Espot, boy walkers can hire 4x4 taxis which can transport them to a number of popular locations within the park, such as the Aigüestortes plain or St.Maurice lake. At the Val d'Aran entrances during the summertime, there is also a taxi service that provides easier access to the Catalonia.A shelters. At the Val Fosca, the southern entrance of the park, a cableway connects Salente with Estany de Sant Maurici, where some nice day walks begin. Trekking. Summertime is a good time for trekking. There are a lot of possibilities, but it's necessary to be aware of the difficulty of some of the paths and be in good physical condition. The Trans-Pyrenean path, GR11 marked with red and white lines, crosses the park from one side to other. At the information points, hiking brochures available which are recommended and shows many of the easy paths with descriptions. Some of them are: at Boy Valley, from La Brita Lake to Long Lake, following St. Nicolau River. Along this path, a footbridge allows the handicapped people with wheelchairs to visit the Aigüestortes plain. From Espot and the St.Maurice lake, an interesting path goes up to the waterfall in Ratera Lake. For this lake, after 15 minutes additional walking, it is possible to arrive at a viewpoint looking over the St.Maurice lake. A second option is to walk up to Amitj's shelter, which provides walkers with experience of the high mountains. For the parking area of Clot Gran, near the Port de la Bonegua, to Gerba Valley and lakes. From Bans de Traders, at the Val d'Aran, walk to Colomba's shelter. This provides a very spectacular walk with a number of lakes. From Estany de Sant Maurici, walk to Tort Lake and arrive to the Colomina shelter at Saburo Lake. A very interesting tour for several days, Camins Vies. This route is a walk along the historic valley paths, most dating back to medieval times and some of more ancient origin, through villages surrounding the national park, passing through Alta Ribagorça, Val d'Erin and Palas Sobirà. Carros de Foc. This route completes a circular tour around some of the shelters that exist in this area. The competitive option must be completed in less than 24 hours, but it's better to have at least 4 or 5 days in order to appreciate the experience that this route provides. Other mountain activities as rock climbing, alpinism, snowshoeing or backcountry skiing are also allowed in the national park. The mountain shelters, the only places where visitors are permitted to spend a night into the park, are available to stay for allow traversing the higher peaks in the park. Mountain biking. Cycling is only allowed on paved routes inside the park and is strictly regulated. Some routes are available in the peripheral area, most of them with medium or hard level. Pedals to FOC is an organized route for riding around the park for several days and possibility of backpacking transfer. Refuges. Trekkers can find up to 10 guarded refuges in the park and its periphery. These are open during 4 months. During the winter, every refuge has its own opening calendar. It's necessary to book them in advance. The refuges of the following: Amiches, Columbus, Colomina, Ernest Malafre, Estany Long, Josep M. Blanc, Piela de la Font, Ristanca, Saboredo, Ventosa y Calval. Additionally, there are 2 unguarded but well-equipped refuges. Surroundings. There is a rich architectural heritage in the region, including the Catalan Romanesque churches of the Val de Boy. UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site in November 2000. A good example is the Sant Climent de Tall Church. Gallery.